You caught your reflection in a dark window, and something inside you went quiet in the wrong way. Here's what happens when you don't have a way to meet that moment. You brace. Your shoulders stay up. Your chest stays tight. And by the time you get to bed, you're still carrying the whole day inside your body and don't know why you can't sleep. The next morning, you start over. Same brace. Same loop. Not because something is wrong with you, because your system never got a signal that the day was done. It never heard, "I see you, I'm here." So it kept scanning. It kept waiting. Kept bracing against something that already passed. And over time, that becomes the default. Not a crisis, just a low hum of tension that never fully lifts. The kind that makes you tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. I'm an analytical CPA. I do not say this as a credential, I say it because it tells you how I came to this. Not through mysticism, not through a retreat or a guru, or a sudden spiritual opening. Through years of carrying my own version of that low hum. Through trying every logical system I could find. Through eventually hitting a wall where logic alone was not enough. And then slowly finding something that actually worked. Something that made sense to the part of me that needed to understand why. I have been studying the Celtic worldview and the mechanics of symbolic practice for years. Not to escape anxiety, but to work with it. What I teach is not woo-woo, it's structured. It's systematic. And it's grounded in the same kind of relational intelligence your nervous system already uses. You just haven't been shown how to speak that language yet. There's a moment that happens, usually at night, usually when you're not trying to do anything in particular. You catch yourself. Not in a dramatic way, just a quick accidental glimpse. And something in that glimpse hits harder than it should. You look tired. Not physically, internally. Like you've been carrying the whole day inside your chest without realizing it. That is the micro-threshold. The moment between distraction and awareness. The split second when you suddenly become conscious of yourself. And your system, reading that sudden awareness as a signal, sends up a small spike of anxiety. Not panic, just that quiet little alarm. I see you noticing yourself. Now what? Most people at that point either distract themselves or spiral. They scroll, they replay the day, they start a mental inventory of everything that isn't resolved. Here's what I tried instead. I turned toward the window, not the reflection, the darkness outside. A single streetlight, a quiet patch of sky, the faint outline of a tree branch moving in the wind. I just let myself notice what was there. Not for meaning, not for magic, just to acknowledge that there was a world outside my chest. That the moment I was in was bigger than the loop I was running. That's the core of it. Anxiety at its root is a feeling of being cut off. Cut off from the moment. Cut off from anything outside your own nervous system. And the first move is not to fix that feeling. It's just to look at something real. To let the world register. To notice it as something that is actually there. Here's what's actually happening underneath that moment. When your system feels cut off, it loops. That's not a flaw. That's its design. Your body, when it senses disconnection, starts scanning. What's wrong? What did I miss? What might happen next? It's not looking for answers. It's looking for contact. For proof that you're not alone in the moment. And when it can't find that contact, it turns inward. It generates its own signal. That signal is the spin, the rumination, the replay of the day, the existential questions that show up at 11 p.m. for no obvious reason. The deeper question underneath all of it is always the same. Am I alone in this? Celtic animism answers that question at a level where it actually lives. Not at the level of thought, at the level of felt sense. It treats the world as alive and relational. Not as objects you move through, as presences that can meet you. When you let that shift happen, even slightly, even for one breath, your system stops scanning. And not because the anxiety is gone, or because the question got a response. The world answered. But here's the piece that mattered. Feeling alone is easy to have. Connection through feeling alone is not enough to hold. You can feel it out a window and lose the moment you walk back into the kitchen. The feeling evaporates when the context changes. This is why the symbolic act exists. Ritual. Gesture. A physical response. Not to manufacture meaning. To give your nervous system something to do with the anxiety besides spin. You make the response real. You make it physical. And that physical act is what your body can remember. It's the difference between an insight you had and a shift you can return to. So here's what you can do tonight. Not a system, not a protocol. One small act. The next time you feel that spike, that sudden awareness of yourself, that micro-threshold moment, don't spiral and don't scroll. Turn towards something real. A window, a tree outside, the sky, a street light, whatever is there. Let yourself notice it. Not to find meaning in it, just to register that something exists outside your own chest. Then answer back, the smallest symbolic act you can manage. Place your hands on the glass. Breathe once. Say nothing out loud. Just signal, I see you, I am here. That is the whole thing. You're not trying to feel better. You're not trying to fix anything. You are making a response. You're giving your system something to do with the anxiety that is not a loop. Then check. Did your shoulders drop even a little? Did your breath deepen, even by one notch? Did the day feel even slightly less heavy? That check is not optional. It's how you train your system to recognize the shift is real. Not imagined, not performed, real. And you don't need a mountaintop for this. You don't need a ceremony. You don't need to feel spiritual. You need a window, one breath, and a willingness to answer back. Over time, something shifts, not dramatically, not all at once, but your body starts to trust that it doesn't have to stay braced through every quiet moment. That awareness doesn't have to mean danger. That catching a glimpse of yourself in a dark window doesn't have to spiral into a full inventory of everything that isn't right. The loop gets shorter. Not because you stopped the thoughts, because your system learned that when it asks the question, it gets a response. Am I alone in this? No. Something outside answered. Something in the world met you. That's what changes. Not the anxiety itself. The relationship your body has with the moment anxiety arrives. It stops being a void. It starts being a threshold, and at the threshold, something can happen. Your nights get quieter, not silent, quieter. Your breath finds its way back faster. Your shoulders come down sooner. The day stops living in your chest quite so long, and you stop waiting for a big moment, a retreat, a breakthrough, a sign. You start finding the conversation in the everyday, at the window, in the dark, in the small act of answering back. That is the practice. Not a transformation fantasy, just the first real change you could feel. Here's the question I want you to sit with today. When your body braces at the quiet moment, the one between distraction and awareness, what are you actually waiting to hear? If you want to go deeper with this kind of work, check the description. I keep my current offerings there. The things that actually help you work with your mind in a real, grounded way.